Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the other side of the coin and welcome to your latest Chelsea news. Two pieces of information that I want to go through with you guys and elaborate about the matter and see what you guys have to say about it as well. One of them is in regards to Jorell Hato, the latest kid that we are linked with from Ajax, but this kid has a little bit of experience about him. We're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about Enzo Maresca, how, ladies and gentlemen, he wants experienced players now. He's starting to say a lot of things that we feel is necessary for the club to start doing. Now, before we get to all of that, ladies and gentlemen, if you've missed out earlier today, as you can see, the latest All You Can Eat Chelsea episode there, Matisse, of course, missed out on this one because he was away on the trip, the Swedish away trip to Djurgården. So this is why Matisse wasn't available, but still we had a sensational episode. Do give that a watch. Bowley's rude moment, hoping for a drunk at Liverpool, and we talked about Gittins and Demac as well. So if you haven't given that a watch, make sure you give that a watch. Now, let's get cracking on. Jorell Hato, ladies and gentlemen. Jorell Hato, let me just bring that forward a little bit. Look, first of all, before I get into the whole Jorell Hato situation, all I want to say is that where's the accountability at Chelsea Football Club? Like, we got Renato Vega last summer, right? We got Renato Vega last summer, and that was deemed as our left back, center back, Swiss Army knife, kind of a player that is able to invert, be a center back, be a midfielder, be a winger, be everything that you ever even desired. What happened to that? That player seems to be enjoying his time in Italy at Juventus. So this is what was sold to us last summer. Now it's getting sold to us that it's Jorell Hato that is able to be a center back, be a left back. Look, I'm not saying Jorell Hato is a bad player. I'm not saying, Renato Vega is this, that, the other. All I'm saying is there has to be some level of accountability. Right? There needs to be some level of accountability because we can't seem to every window hype up the fan base that we're going to get this, we're going to get that. Because last summer, everyone said great business to Renato Vega. And once again, this season with this links, and I know this is coming from Mike, whoever that is, maybe a Dutch journalist, but there are a few other journalists as well, Chelsea journalists that are talking about Jorell Hato too. And I'll tell you why this kind of makes sense. Not for me, but for the club's policy. But once again, I see a large portion of the Chelsea fan base saying great business. Again, everything is great business. When we gave Ian Martin away to Aston Villa, great business. When we sold Lewis Hall to Newcastle, great business. When we, were about to loan out Cucurella to Man United, great business. When we kept Cucurella, great business. When we bought Renato Vega instead of Calafiori, I know Calafiori hasn't worked out either, but I think a lot of us wanted Calafiori to be the left-sided player. Great business, Renato Vega. Renato Vega goes to Juventus. Great business. Jorell Hato now being linked with us. Great business. And in all of this, all I want to say is that what about Ishe Samuel Smith that we recently, gave a contract extension to? Is there a pathway for him, or is that pure profit as well? So, let's not just keep saying great business to everything. Let's try and question what is this ownership, this board? What are you trying to do here? What are you trying to do? Now, a little bit about Jorell Hato, as we paint the picture here of this link that is happening with us. As you can see, he's a 19-year-old. So tick, age, massive tick. This is exactly what we want. Left back is a position where we need cover. Cucurella is the only one right now, and everyone else kind of does a bit of a makeshift, makeshift sort of situation there for us. In the likes of Malo Gusto's played. We've seen Reece James play in that position. So we've even seen at times Levi Colwell on that left side. So it's not, after Cucurella, we don't really have someone who can absolutely nail down that position. So there's a reason why we need something of a backup or even competition to Cucurella next season. So the link of a left back makes sense. Uh, 19-year-old makes sense. He has played 28 matches this season in Eredivisie, Europa League as well. So he's got experience. He's got a little bit of experience. I believe it all started from last season as well. So he's got a bit of experience. Left back, he's played 45 matches there. Left mid, one. One thing I do have to say, Jorell Hato, you're going to have to start inverting. You can't. So far under Maresca, we've not seen him use a left back or a right back as a traditional, up and down, overlapping kind of a player. So Jorell Hato, you're going to have to invert. I've not watched too much of Ajax in recent times, so I can't really comment on if Jorell Hato is capable of that. I have heard that he's a very, very good player, and that Chelsea are definitely linked with him. This season, 2 goals, 6 assists. This is the column that you want to probably focus on, 6 assists. And obviously, defensively, he needs to be rock solid too. 2,339 minutes, quite a lot of minutes, 881 minutes in Europa League. So wealth of experience, man. For a young kid is good amount of minutes, nearly 4,000 minutes this season, which is fantastic. But as I said, another kid, maybe in this situation, it's not a bad idea. Maybe because Cucurella is the number 1 selection and he's the experienced player. And then you've got someone like Jorell Hato deputizing, learning and developing a lot more until he can sort of take over. So maybe this one isn't that bad, but I'm just saying overall, where is the vision? Is it just kids after kids after kids? I don't know. And what is the future for Ishe Samuel Smith? I mean, if you look at some of the kids that we've let go of, some of them are doing well elsewhere. Like your Lewis Hall's doing well in Newcastle, your Livramento is doing well in Newcastle, and a few other players that are doing well elsewhere. So, people say that Ishe Samuel Smith is a talented footballer, is a talented left-sided player. Should he not have been given an opportunity as a sort of like a deputize when Cucurella is unavailable? Like, had Ishe Samuel Smith played for Dortmund or Ajax or Leipzig, I mean, would we not be excited about that? Is it just because he's an academy player? I get it. Jorell Hato is advanced. He's a lot more advanced than Ishe Samuel Smith. But let me know. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you guys are feeling about this particular player. Do you want Jorell Hato or do you want someone like Ishe Samuel Smith to get that opportunity? Now, next up, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit about Enzo Maresca. But before that, I just want to quickly also talk about this quickly. All You Can Eat Wrestling, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't subscribed. Today, we've got the SmackDown program. The intention was to go live and do a live reaction on it, but I've got some, parental duties that has come up, and I'm not going to be able to go live on it. But all the parties involved in All You Can Eat Wrestling, myself, Eunice, and Javon, we are going to do a review of that show, which will drop tomorrow. So that will be the first video. If you are a wrestling lover, you absolutely enjoy it, or you want to see a different type of content from Eunice, myself, and Javon, do make sure you subscribe. The first piece of content will drop tomorrow, early UK time. I can't give you an exact time frame, but early UK time. Hopefully before midday, maybe after midday, maybe in the afternoon. You will see the first piece of content that will drop here, which will be the SmackDown review. SmackDown will happen later today. Now, coming back to the final piece of the news, Enzo Maresca believes Chelsea should consider signing experienced players in the summer to bridge the gap between Chelsea and Liverpool. Coming from Simon Johnson. Of course, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we cannot be competing against the likes of Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal if we just continue with this kids project. Once again, Jorell Hato, we're linked with. Okay, fine, that's a backup. I've got an issue when we are trying to have starters as kids. We've got more kids coming up next season, by the way. Esteval's coming. And whether we get another striker that is a kid or a developing striker, we shall see. But Enzo Maresca, in the last few, days, in the last couple of weeks, he's now been saying, look, if you want us to compete for the highest level, you want us to compete for something serious, this method is not going to cut it. This method, you'll just about sneak a top 4, top 5 finish and make it to Champions League, maybe. And that's not even guaranteed on a season to season, outlook. And how some of those players, the key players that we have, how they're going to feel if we're not competing at the highest level? What if they want to start leaving the football club? You need to have some form of experience, and not just experience, quality experience. Players that have done it at the highest level and won stuff. You need to bring them in, along with the kids that we have, and create a balanced squad. You look at PSG, Marquinhos. Who's our Marquinhos? We want to have that, right? So Hakimi, who's our Hakimi? Even Hakimi. What's Hakimi's age? Hakimi's been around for a while, but he might still be young. I want to have a quick look at Hakimi's age. What's Hakimi's age? 26. Even 26-year-olds. How many 26-year-olds do we have? I think Hakimi's turning 27, though, this season. Yes, November. This year he's turning 27. Like, how many 27-year-olds do we have in our squad? Not that many. Nkunku, Tosin. So players like that, and PSG is just an example. There are other examples as well. So Maresca is right. Kids, along with some experience, will create a good balance, which will then create a good squad, a squad that can do some damage and challenge for the highest honors. And as a fan base, this is what we want. If we make it to Champions League next season, which I'm hoping and praying that we do, we continue with the policy that we have, we're going to suffer. We're going to be embarrassed in the Champions League. If we make it to the Champions League, we need to, I'm not saying absolutely deviate away from our youthful policy, but at least add some sprinkle of experience, because these players need it. The manager wants it. So ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. But my only, concern about this whole situation is every time a manager comes out and talks like that, their fate is dangerous at Chelsea Football Club, because you're going against the company policy. Imagine working for a company, right? They've got a certain rules and regulation policy that they follow, and now you are starting to speak against that policy, even though it makes sense, but it's against the policy, against the company ways. You best believe you're going to be out of that job. You best believe you're going to be out. So hopefully that's not the case. We don't want to keep chopping and changing all the time. Let's see what Maresca can do with a bit of experience. If he can finish in the Champions League positions, he's done well. If not, hopefully make it to Europa and we'll go again. What else can we do? What else can we do? We've ranted, we've cried, we've done everything. Can only hope that it'll progress to something fruitful. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts about everything we spoke about. Hope you've enjoyed this. Smash up the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe. Do check All You Can Eat Chelsea latest episode, and do subscribe to All You Can Eat Wrestling. The content will be dropping there very, very shortly. All right. Until then, everyone, take care. See ya.